You know that feeling, right? That little spark of pure, uncut joy when a plan gets canceled? If your absolute perfect Friday night involves you, your couch, and absolutely zero obligations, well, you're about to feel very, very understood. We're going to dive into the fascinating psychology behind why some of us just love staying home. And trust me, it is so much deeper than just being an introvert. This quote, man, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? That friend who always seems to bail, they're probably not trying to be rude. 9 times out of 10, they're protecting their peace, their energy, their mental space. It's an act of self-preservation, one that, society is really quick to misunderstand. And that's our starting point right here, the great misunderstanding. We're going to peel back all those common labels that get tossed around and look at what the science actually says, which, spoiler alert, tells a completely different story. I mean, we've all heard them, haven't we? The labels on the left. Lazy, antisocial, boring, maybe even a little strange. But the real reasons, the stuff on the right, that's all rooted in psychology. We're talking brain chemistry, a deep-seated need to conserve energy, and this fundamental search for safety. This isn't some character flaw. It's just a feature of how some of our brains are wired. So let's get into the nitty-gritty, the science of it all, with our next section, your brain's energy budget. Because this is really all about how some minds are just built for efficiency and conservation, not for constant spending. So a key idea here is something called optimal arousal theory. It basically says that some nervous systems are just more sensitive. They don't need a loud concert or a packed party to feel good. In fact, that amount of stimulation can feel like a total sensory overload. They hit their feel-good zone with a lot less input, which makes a quiet evening at home feel, well, just right. And this perfectly explains the whole social battery metaphor, right? For some people, being around others charges them up. But for others, every single interaction, even the really fun ones, is slowly draining that battery. And home isn't just a place. It's the only charging station that can get them back to 100%. And think about it this way. For a homebody's brain, going out isn't just a casual activity. No, it's a full-on, multi-step project that starts eating up mental resources long before they've even put their shoes on. Every single one of these steps has a cognitive cost. First, there's the mental planning. What am I going to wear? What's the best way to get there? Then you've got sensory adjustment, bracing yourself for all the random noises and bright lights. After that, you're navigating people, trying to read social cues, keep up with conversations. And all the while, your brain is dealing with constant unpredictability. It's exhausting just thinking about it, isn't it? The brain is simply making a smart choice to save that energy. Which brings us to another massive piece of the puzzle, the quest for control. And look, this is not about being a control freak. It's about a deep psychological need for an environment that feels predictable and stable. Just look at the contrast here. The outside world is, well, it's chaos, right? It's full of unpredictable variables, traffic, strangers, things you just can't plan for. But home is your domain. You control the volume, the lighting, the social rules, and that predictability, it isn't just comforting, it literally lowers stress hormones like cortisol, which helps keep your brain in a calm, balanced state. And let's be super clear. For most people, this isn't about being afraid of the world. It's the mind's very intelligent way of seeking consistency. It's a form of self-regulation, really, an attempt to find balance in a world that often feels totally off-kilter. So if they're not out there experiencing the world, what are they doing? This leads us to such a beautiful idea, a rich inner world. See, staying home isn't about doing nothing. It's about having everything you need for an adventure right inside your own head. The fancy psychological term for this is intrinsic stimulation. It just means that these folks don't need the outside world to entertain them because their own thoughts, their creative projects, their deep dive hobbies, that stuff provides more than enough excitement. This is super common in people with highly analytical or creative minds who find their greatest adventures are the internal ones. And part of this is because their brain is just wired for deeper processing. It's not just hearing a conversation, it's analyzing the tone, the body language, the subtext, all at the same time. This constant deep-level analysis burns through mental energy like crazy, which makes a quiet place like home the only place the brain can really power down and recharge. Okay, now we have to touch on a really crucial distinction, because this isn't always so simple. This section is called peace or hiding, and it's so important to know the difference. So I want you to just take a second and really think about this question. Do you choose to stay home because it genuinely recharges you, it fills your cup, and it brings you peace? Or do you stay home because the thought of leaving just feels impossibly heavy, like a weight you can't lift? The first one, that's peace. The second one, that could be hiding. Sometimes a strong preference for staying home can actually be a symptom of things like social anxiety or depression or even past trauma. And in those cases, home can go from being a safe refuge to being a cage. It's just a really important line to be aware of, both in ourselves and in the people we care about. But for all those people who choose solitude for peace, let's totally reframe this whole conversation. Let's talk about what this really is, the quiet superpower. Because what society sometimes frames as a weakness is actually linked to some incredible strengths. I'm serious. Studies show that people who genuinely enjoy their own company often have higher levels of creativity, a capacity for much deeper introspection, and are better problem solvers. They build that rich inner world, which leads to this amazing self-awareness. So at the end of the day, this is not about missing out. It's about living differently.
It's about choosing to find huge amounts of joy in the small, simple things that other people just rush past. That morning coffee, getting lost in a good book, the profound quiet of an empty room. That's not sad, that's knowing yourself.
And let's just end on this thought. If any of this spoke to you, please remember, you're not broken. You're not antisocial or weird. You are simply wired for depth over noise, for peace over performance. And in a world that just will not stop shouting, you know what? That might just be the quietest and most powerful superpower of all.